Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Germany once again, and for this one we are actually going to revisit a brewery. We're going to Oelde in Nordrhein-Westphalia and we're going to revisit Pott's Naturpark Brauerei, and today we're having a taste of their Prinzipal, which is a premium style Pilsner beer. And I've had this one before when I visited my friend Daniel in Zoest, and it's a very nice beer, this one, so quite cool that I finally got around to reviewing it for you on the YouTube channel. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll take you through a very brief history of the brewery. It will only be a minute or two long, but if you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. The brewery website's in the video description for you below, in the original German and a translated English version incidentally. You'll also find down there a link to my other reviews that I've done from Potts, and hopefully I can add to that in the near future. And feel free to connect with me on Untappd or on Facebook as well. Please like on the page on Facebook especially, because I need some support on there, but your support would be much appreciated. You'll find all of those links in the video description below. But anyway, the entity that became Pott's Brewery was founded back in 1769 when Franz Arnold Feldman bought the Jesuit-owned brewery and bakery in central Oelde. And it's actually quite an interesting point about this brewery is that they do still run the bakery that was associated with them all those years ago. But Franz's daughter Elizabeth Theresa Bernardina Feldman, she married local innkeeper Bernard Pott in 1851, and since then the brewery has been known as Pott's Brauerei, and it's passed through the various generations of the Pott family. And the current head of the company is Jörg Pott, who is the 7th generation member of the family to have run the brewery. Now in 1996 the brewery moved certain functions of the brewing to a new facility which is right next to the Autobahn exit at Oelde, but the new brewery was equipped with ultra-modern maturing, bottling, filtration and shipping facilities. But despite this very new and very modern facility, the company actually continued to keep the actual brewing in the old townhouse brewery, but they simply modernised the rooms and the equipment that they were using there. So they wanted to stick to the tradition but also kind of move with the times and have some modern things going on in the brewery. But in 1999 they opened the Pott's brew pub entitled Pott's Brau und Bäckerei, and later in 2003 they were also involved in the Georg Lechner Beer Museum, which houses the largest collection of beer labels in the world, and also a house collection of, or a large collection of bottles and jugs as well. So a place that you would really like to go if you enjoy your beer memorabilia. I'll need to go there and check that out sometime. But 2007 also saw the company own the Franz Arnold Hall in the brewery, which acts as a kind of large events venue, and that was basically in memory of their kind of founding father, if you like. So a very cool brewery that has a lot of stuff going on. They've invested locally in the community for good causes and for the beer museum and the bakery museum that's also on site as well. So as I say, check out the brewery website, go and have a little look at Oelde as well. It seems like it's a very nice town actually, so somewhere that I need to go and have an explore of the next time I find myself out in Germany. But anyway, to list the other beers that you'll get from Pott's Naturbrauerei. So you'll get the Pilsner, the Landbier, the Weizen, alcohol-free Weizen, and also an alcohol-free Pilsner as well. And they've got a range of radlers and soft drinks too. As I say, check out the brewery website and you will get an idea of all of the different things they do. But anyway, let's get stuck into this beer. So this one is I believe it's 5.3%, and as I told you, it is a premium Pilsner beer, so it's a very nice one that I've had before, so I'm quite looking forward to reviewing it for you. So I'll just let you have a quick look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. The light's reflecting off it a little bit, so I'll just bring it up. You can see there, this is the old townhouse brewery where they actually brew the beer that you can just see on the top of the label there, but quite nicely presented. Potts, of course, in this region, Nordrhein-Westphalia, they're very distinctive and very well known, and you can see the top label on the brewery there. The light's just being a bit of a pain in this video, but I'll just let it go back down. So without further ado, let's get stuck into this beer. So as I told you, a 5.3% Pilsner from Oelde in Nordrhein-Westphalia in Germany. And that's the one thing I always love about these Pott bottles, is just you get such a nice big bang from them. But we were drinking, when I went over to visit my friend, we were drinking the Pott's Landbier really quite high. We went through a crate of that in about 2 hours or something, which was pretty bad, but let's just say it was good fun. So yeah, as you can see, this beer is poured a really nice, it's got a good bit of sediment in it actually, but it's poured a very nice kind of pale goldeny amber. It looks quite attractive actually. I'll just bring up the camera and check that you're seeing the colour of this one nicely, but it's poured a nice orangey amber colour. It actually looks a bit like an IPA, if I'm honest with you. There's a little bit of sediment just floating around in the bottom of the glass there, and there's about a half finger of a frothy white head which is just kind of fading away to be a very thin foamy layer. But it looks a very nice beer, some big bubbles of carbonation sticking towards the side of the glass, but a lot of little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head, so a very, very attractive looking beer. So let's have a smell of it and then we'll get stuck into the tasting. So it's got a big bready note to it actually. Some nice grainy character. A little bit of corny, kind of corny and biscuity sweetness coming out of this one, which you always expect from a kind of premium Pils beer. But it's slightly toasted, and you can also pick up some of the sort of grassy and slightly floral hops there, but this one actually smells fairly sweet and quite biscuity and corny, I would say. But there is a good element of bready and grainy character underneath there. Slightly toasted, but smells quite nice. You know, it has everything you expect of a Pils beer. Pils beers don't have the most complex of aromas, but this one smells quite nice and quite inviting. More of a malt forward kind of Pils beer. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it. So this is the Prinzipal Pils beer from Naturpark Brauerei, Pott in Oelde in Nordrhein-Westphalia in Germany. Really nice brewery, so let's get stuck in. Prost! So yeah, it's quite, it's kind of quite like how I remember it. It is a more kind of bready forward Pils, this one. So just take a few sips and let your mouth adjust to it, as I always say with the beers. But with this one, you just get a nice bready malt base that just blankets the middle of your palate, where you get that nice malty sweetness to the beer. Right down the middle of your tongue, you're getting a nice sweet caramelly sort of biscuity grainy character to this one, and it's quite nice. It's a sweet, it really is on the sweeter side of Pils beers, this one. There is an element of toasted character to these bready malts as well, which is quite interesting, but as I say, it's quite unusual for a Pils beer because it is more of a bread forward, kind of a malty one. To me, this beer would actually fit a little bit more into the category of a Helles beer, but at the same time, it does remind me a bit of some of these Asian lagers that are a bit sweeter in the malt base, so it's quite interesting in that regard. But yeah, a nice white bready blanket across the middle of your tongue there. There is an element of a kind of cereally or grainy character, and that gives you just a little bit of dryness in the middle of your palate too, but some caramel sweetness going down the middle of your tongue there. A bit of a biscuity, grainy character to that as well, slightly syrupy in fact, but around the edges of the tongue there, you're getting the nice typical German hops in there. A very light touch of earthy hop from these German noble hops, and then it's nice and smooth and grassy around the front edge of the tongue. Maybe a little bit floral and drier around the front curve too, but there is an element of a kind of citrusy flavour to it as well, which is quite nice. Yeah, just a very light touch of citrus, but overall it's a more malty forward Pils beer. Quite nice and quite sessionable. So if you do like a more malty, or even if you do like some of these kind of Asian lager beers, it reminds me a little bit of that. The German Pils is obviously quite a different style, but the kind of malt forwardness and the bready character and the nice biscuity syrupy sweetness this has does remind me of some of these lagers that they drink out in Asia, like Singha and Chang and things like that. This one really does give me a little bit of a nostalgic feel for my time out in Asia actually, so definitely check this one out if you enjoy that kind of style of beer. But overall it's really quite nice and quite an easy drinking sessionable beer, which is exactly what a Pils beer is intended to be, just a little bit more malt forward. So in terms of the mouthfeel, this one quite light bodied, maybe pushing the mid bodied category a little bit. It's got quite a smooth carbonation to it, which is what you expect from most German beers. Quite forward on its malty sweetness, a good bit of caramel and slightly biscuity, syrupy character to this one. There is a little bit of dry hoppy character that comes out on the edge of the tongue, a bit drier at the front where you're getting more of the grassy and aromatic characters, and a little bit of earthy character at the very back of the tongue. But overall it's quite a nice kind of easy drinking, more malt forward Pils beer. So as I say, if you do enjoy some of these Asian lagers like I did when I was out there, then this is one that you really quite want to go for, and it's quite different from other German Pils beers that I've come across, but it is a really nice one that you should have a go at, and it's from a very nice area of Germany. So do go and check out Oelde if you get the chance. It's somewhere that I need to go and explore myself the next time I head over to Germany. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review, and I hope you're enjoying this kind of German mini-series that I'm doing for you, just working my way through a crate of German beer that I have before I head off to Sweden. So I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, please let me know in the comment section below your own thoughts on this beer. Always interesting to read them and hear the thoughts of the viewers on the beer that I'm reviewing for you. But please, in the meantime, until my next review, like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff, like the Facebook page for the channel, and also feel free to add me as a friend on Untappd. Hopefully I can revisit Pott's Naturpark Brauerei in the fairly near future. They do have some interesting beers, but until then, slàinte for now. Cheers.